समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
You've seen 2 episodes of Writings on the Wall from West Bengal from 2011 elections. That's the one in which Mamata Banerjee swept the left aside and came to power. This one is from the 2016 campaign. And you know what? There's always this issue. You go to a state where you don't know the language, then what happens? So you sure can read the writings on the wall traveling through poll-bound West Bengal, even if you don't know a word of Bangla. I had written that in 2016 because the writings on the political wall are now written not only in unusual scripts but also in unique inks. They are written in millions of tiny LED lights strung on electricity poles on Kolkata's avenues, in vinyl and cloth, in the flags of the three main parties happily sharing the same tree, rooftop, even clotheslines, and yes, some also in conventional ink on newsprint. In different scripts, these described a political change so complex and dramatic, only 93 million Bengalis could have scripted it. That was the number then. They enabled Mamata Banerjee. Her party leaders prefer the traditional Bandopadhyay on the promise of Poribortan, change, to throw out the left. 5 years later, we are in 2016 now. 5 years later, they have to decide whether they believe the promised change came. The LED lights tell us the one thing that hasn't changed is the megalomania of power. The left only filled the city with red flags and defaced its walls with party slogans in giant hammer and sickles. Mamata Banerjee's Trinamool Congress TMC has painted the entire capital blue and white in the chosen colors of her political party. In daytime, it is somewhat less pronounced, with blocks of apartments painted blue and white, incentivized by the government. But it is much more striking by night as you drive down avenues flanked and divided by strings of lights in the same political colors. I ventured out for my usual late night walk and after a few hundred meters was lost in a sea of blue and white. The left also perfected winner takes all politics but did not have a personality cult. TMC's is an entirely personality centric government and politics, with its senior most leaders referring to their leader as Supremo. A description I first heard in Indian politics from Jayaprada in the Andhra Pradesh election campaign of 1993, and which since then has defined the politics of some of our states, notably Tamil Nadu, J. Jayalalitha, and Uttar Pradesh, Mayawati. Jayaprada, of course, had used that for NTR. Bengal is now the fourth. Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, and Bengal. Shifting from the cult of a cadre-based party to a Supremo-led one has not softened the metaphor or tone of politics or rival campaigns. As characterized by Mamata Banerjee's Ekta Ekta Hisab Nibo, I will settle scores with you one by one. That's a warning to her rivals. But the usually violent edges of street politics have been blunted, and that is an enormous transformation. That is what the writings in cloth and vinyl tell us. At first sighting, I was taken aback seeing CPIM and Congress flags on the same trees and homes. Remember, in that election 2016, they were partners. This would have been inconceivable in the past. In fact, you can be sure a congressman putting his flag on a CPIM home or vice versa would have led to a bloody fight. State Finance Minister Amit Mitra, whom the world knows as a fine economist, tells me between 1972 and 2009, nearly 57,000 persons had been killed in political violence. Come to my constituency, he says. I shall walk you past Shaheed Vedis or martyrs' memorials, so many of them. One is for a CPIM man killed by Congress, the other a congressman killed by CPIM, and so on, he says. Wondering how their alliance would work now. But it may just, if even in contentious Shingur. Flags of the TMC are also seen sharing the same space. This is also so significant in a state where parties routinely staked out entire walls, if not neighborhoods, with this wall reserved for so and so graffiti months before elections. Any transgression of such a line of control, LOC, would invite brutal retribution. Now, if they all share the same spaces, it tells you two things. One, that Bengal's politics has become just a little less violent. This campaign, 2016, this campaign so far has only recorded one death, as Mamata Banerjee proudly tells us. And second, that after losing power in the following 5 years without a friendly police, the CPIM has had to give up its politics of Dadagiri. After his joint rally with State Congress Chief Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, CPIM leader and the man widely seen to be Chief Minister, if the anti-Mamata front wins, theoretically, Shurja Kanta Mishra fields questions on what lessons his party has learned with un-CPM-like calm. And I quote him, "It was wrong to let party cadres get involved in governance," he says, and promises to immunize the bureaucracy from party men now. Many still don't believe this promise will be kept or even that the alliance will last much longer. For decades, we have seen them kill each other. Now they've joined hands only to get her out. Says a businessman who'd rather stay anonymous. All businessmen in Kolkata always want to be anonymous. But presuming the objective is achieved, I'm continuing to quote him now, but presuming this objective is achieved, what will keep them together? That is Congress and the left. Amit Mitra talks about the man whose hands were chopped off by CPIM thugs for the crime of voting for the hand symbol of the Congress. So they chopped off both his hands. How can these two parties join hands now? That supposed inevitability of a breakup is, however, not written on the political walls of Bengal in 2016. The CPM knows another spell in wilderness could destroy them, and the Congress is already marginal. So the two have a compulsion to stay together. They may not have a joint manifesto, but you can see the CPIM stepping back from its more doctrinaire political economics that its leaders now confess made them go into decline 2008 onwards. This, for India's political left, is a tectonic shift. Usually, the left backed the Congress and other secular parties on the justification of keeping the BJP out. In Bengal, the alliance targets a truly secular rival, even if Mamata Banerjee comically overdoes it by ending her speeches with Namaste, Goodbye, Sat Sri Akal, Vanakkam, Khuda Hafiz, and finally, Inshallah. This is purely a political alliance against another formidable left secular force. I am describing Mamata Banerjee also as a left secular force. Given that the conservative V.S. Achyutanandan still leads the party in Kerala, that's the CPM, mine may be a leap of faith. But let's risk saying that we see a firm shift by the Indian left from doctrinal purity to political realism, from communism to a social democratic center-left approach without Dadagiri. It has worked beautifully for them in India's other Bengali-speaking state, Tripura, under Manik Sarkar. Maybe it might work here. Communist leaders have often told me, and I recounted this in my most recent writings on the wall on the current election, that their communism survived Deng and Gorbachev. It did not get corrupted like Deng's and Gorbachev's. That said, I would say generally that doctrinaire phase is over. I recall an admonition I once got from Pranab Mukherjee when my paper, then the Indian Express, and I were relentlessly attacking the left for hobbling Manmohan Singh. Learn from political history, he said. India's left is not unchanging. At independence, they rejected democracy. Now most of them fight elections. More change will come. Give them time, he had said. Don't judge them so easily. We also talked about writings on the wall scripted in conventional ink on touchy-feely newsprint. Check out the leading Bengal papers from Avik Sarkar's Anand Bazar Patrika, ABP group. Not since some Ramnath Goenka years at the Indian Express have you seen a publishing group take such a partisan stand in an election. Mamata Banerjee and her party impute a dozen ugly motives to Avik Sarkar's turn, but India's doughtiest newspaper baron today and nuttiest to take on Mamata Banerjee and Narendra Modi at the same time, has read something that you may miss at first glance on his state's political walls. It is written across the front page of his newspaper in headlines hand in hand. Each hand is stylized in the colors of CPM and Congress respectively. It tells you of a centreward shift of India's left as much as Congress leaning to the left under Rahul Gandhi. That realignment is the big political message of this Bengal election. Remember, this was the state election of 2016.